In this video we are going to RNG manipulate DexNav encounters in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. There are two ways of triggering a DexNav encounter. The first one is by walking around in the wild area and the Pokemon will randomly spawn on its own. The second is by using the search function on the lower screen of your 3DS. Both methods have advantages and disadvantages, but in this video, I am going to cover the second method only, which was recently released to the public, and is more interesting. It also allows hunting for fishing Pokemon, but please understand that there should be no wandering or running NPCs in the area, or if they exist, make sure they can be defeated so they will freeze temporarily, otherwise this method is impossible. In any case, you will need some repels, an empty side on your bag, and the EXP share which you get relatively early in the game. With that out of the way, we may begin by typing our TinyMT initial seed into TinyFinder, here. Select your game and the DexNav searching method. I am going for a shiny Whalemare in Evergrande City, and I have acquired the shiny charm, dealt with the legendary in Sotoples Cave, and I also play on emulator, so all the three boxes should be checked in my case. Now, when fishing, Whalemare can be found using either the good rod or the super rod, but DexNav will always use the worst possible rod for all fishing exclusive Pokemon, so I need to select the good rod here in order for TinyFinder to predict its level accurately. I have used PK Hex to maximize the DexNav search level for Whalemare, and I have 5 Pokemon in my party so I need to adjust these. Also I'll set the chain to 1, and I'll explain why later. Finally, I want it to have 3-star potential which translates to at least 3 perfect IVs, be shiny, have its hidden ability, an egg move, and have the nature of my synchronizer in the first slot of my party. I don't care about the plus 10 level boost, so I am gonna ignore this in order to expand the possible targets. So, these are all the possible Whalemares that match my requirements. I can pick any of these really, and I usually select based on the egg move. If TinyFinder does not find any results, or you didn't find the egg move you were looking for, you can soft reset your game so a new TinyMT initial seed will be generated. I happen to like Curse and Fisher for Whalemare, but I am going to soft reset the game regardless to show you the process. This is the new TinyMT initial seed which I have to type in TinyFinder again. Now I don't like anything so I am gonna soft reset again and hopefully I can get something good. Okay, no results at all. Let's increase the index range a bit, 50k is generally a bit low for picky searches like this. Still nothing interesting. Let's soft reset one last time. So, Curse which was one of my choices is available on this seed pretty early, but I am gonna aim for Soak instead at index 55013 to show you how we deal when the target is that far away. Alright, time to generate the MT initial seed and check the available IV spreads. Press A to advance to this screen and type the seed in 3DS RNG tool. My TSV and TRV values are both 0 on this save, and I also have the shiny charm which I should check here. At this point I should select the DexNav category in the Wild tab. It's possible that this box here will be grayed out due to a bug in 3DS RNG tool. So you will need to switch to the Event tab once, in order to unlock it. Time to adjust some settings in 3DS RNG tool based on this TinyFinder info. The first and most important thing, is to paste this delay number in 3DS RNG tool here. Then all this info I am highlighting. Tiny Finder shows that synchronize will succeed, so I need to check this box as well as pick my synchronizer's nature. The Wild Whale Mare is also going to have its hidden ability, so I need to check this box. Its potential will be 3 stars, so let's set this number to 3 as well. Finally, I searched for a forced shiny index earlier, so I need to check this box. The gender ratio of Whalemare is 50%, so I don't need to change this. I don't have to worry about this box since my target is not unknown. Alright, time to choose the IV spread of my Whalemare and possibly the gender. I want the perfect 31 value in every stat except attack. I don't have to check this box since it's going to be forced shiny anyway. The last thing to do, is to calculate the minimum MT frame I can aim for. I am gonna take my target index number from Tiny Finder, and divide it by 3. So, if index 55013 is my target, frame 18337 is the absolute minimum frame I could aim for. But my current MT frame is around 8200, so I need to account for that as well. 26k, and I need to add another 15 to 20k for some preparations that will be needed. Let's put 45k as minimum and 90k as maximum, and search in that frame range to be safe. It's time to pick my target IV spread. What I want to look for, is 3 or more consecutive frames in order to deal with the delay, which is unstable sometimes. And it seems I was able to find 6 consecutive ones. I was lucky this time, but this is not always the case. If you cannot find a spread that satisfies you, or if there are no consecutive MT frames to aim for, you can refresh your initial seed by pressing B on this screen and then A again. Alright, after 7.5 minutes of carefully setting up everything, it's finally time to load my save. The very first thing to do, is enter the bag and check how many tiny MT advances are required until I reach my target index. So I will put my current advances in Tiny Finder and then right-click on my target and then calculate advances. That's not good at all. I need to use the EXP share 3665 times, which would take forever, so I need a much faster way to advance the Tiny MT. What I am going to do, is fly at Route 120 and walk to the south where a heavy rain is going to start. During the rain, huge Tiny MT jumps happen in every single frame, and we are going to take advantage of this. You can probably see for yourself. Now it's only a matter of a few minutes until I get close to my target index, so I am gonna stay here for a bit and I will see you in a moment. Alright, I am getting close to my target index. At about 1000 advances before, I will fly back to Evergrande City in order to make the final preparations for the RNG. If you need to defeat trainers in order to make them freeze as I described in the beginning of the video, fly back to your location around 2000 advances before your target instead of 1000. As you probably noticed, we had to stay at Route 120 for a while, so I had to calculate how many MT frames would pass during that time. That's why I divided my target Tiny MT index by 3 earlier. You really need to make sure there are 0 NPCs that move, run, or just wander around, as they will totally ruin the RNG. With that out of the way, I am gonna start walking around until a random hidden Pokemon spawns. I will then approach it slowly and defeat it in order to start a chain. An active chain is necessary in order to make sure that my next DexNav search activation will be successful indeed and it will find a Pokemon. I can start my chain by defeating any wild Pokemon. It doesn't have to be the same species as my target, but it has to be a hidden encounter. PokeReader confirms my current chain length is 1, so I am good to go. The last thing to do is make sure I am standing on a tile where my target Pokemon will have enough room to spawn. As you can see, according to Tiny Finder, it will try to spawn 9 tiles to the right and -2 tiles above my player character, or 2 tiles below to be more accurate. Let's go north to give it enough room to move around. If it doesn't have enough, it will not spawn and you will fail the RNG. This spot is perfect, so it's time to enter the bag and check how far off I am from my target index. Okay, this is not bad, but 34 EXP share usages is still a bit too much. In order to speed up things a bit, I am gonna exit the bag and use the Poke Amy function on the lower screen of my 3DS, that weird pink menu. As you can see, it increases the tiny MT advances in a decent pace, but you should only use it to get close to your target since you cannot control it at all. It also may not work for you if you have interacted with other people in the GTS, so you may have to delete them from the PSS menu. At this point you must prepare the lower screen with your target Pokemon ready to be searched, then enter the bag. For once again I will put my current advances into Tiny Finder and have it indicate the steps to finally reach my target index. 6 EXP share usages and 1 TM move rejection will take less than a minute, so let's do those. Press B here to reject the move, and as you can see, I have reached index 54997, from which I will then jump to 55,013, which is my target. The only thing left to do now before I trigger the final encounter, is to calculate the exact MT frame I will need to exit the bag on. To find this number, I am going to subtract this number from my target MT frame. I will go for this one to have an error room of 2 frames for both up and down. This is when I am going to press the X button to exit from the bag to the overworld. So I will switch to the empty side of my bag and let the game advance frames for me. Almost there. I will now press Start plus Select at the same time to freeze the game, then I will tap Select as many times as needed to advance frames one by one, and I will stop on frame 87787. This is it. Now I am going to hold the X button to exit the bag, and when the overworld loads, freeze the game again by pressing Start plus Select at the same time. At last, I need to advance until 10 MT frames away from my target. I will tap Select to advance frames as many times as needed until I see this number on PokeReader. My MT advances are correct, my tiny MT advances are correct, and I am ready to trigger the search function on the lower screen. Hold your touch pen down on this area of the screen and tap Select exactly 5 times to advance 10 MT frames. You must now lift the touch pen from the screen. As a final check, we can see that all advances match the ones indicated in the tools, so the only thing left to do is press Start to unfreeze the game while the search function activation registers in game. All hints show that the correct whalemare spawned, but let's surprise this fella and see what we got. GG, easy. After 7.5 minutes of setting up the tools and 8 minutes of actually playing the game, I managed to get my shiny whalemare. As you could see, preparation is as necessary as implementation if not more, so take your time and pick your target very carefully before actually going after it. I am actually curious to see if I have hit the correct MT frame, so let's compare with the PID. Yeah, I hit the correct one, so delay was 218 indeed. Sometimes it will be plus or minus 2, which is why I recommend looking for consecutive frames as I did. Please leave your questions in the comments and I will be happy to help if there are any issues, or something you could not understand well. The next video will probably be a wild RNG guide, so stay tuned.